You know, I don't even know what I was going to say. Hello guys and dolls. So first of all, I just want to say long video alert because there's a whole lot of area to cover with this, and it's, as I said in my previous Wayne Goss brush review that I did last fall, it's a expensive product, so it's something that I want to fully get all the information out there because it's not the type of thing that somebody can just make a flippant decision to buy. So last week I had the amazing opportunity to go to the Beautylish headquarters here in San Francisco and check out the Wayne Goss brush set before it even came out. And in addition to checking out the brush set, I also was able to have an amazing Skype interview slash chat slash, I'm calling it a date. It wasn't really a date. My husband and my best friend were there, and so was like the founder of Beautylish, but date. My date with Wayne was very productive. I was able to talk to him about the brushes themselves, about his, inspiration for the line, why he wanted to create this specific type of line as opposed to doing something like less expensive. And I do want to just address right here at the beginning of the video two things. First is that a lot of people are upset that he didn't do like a less expensive line. Some people are kind of turned off by the fact that these are a luxury product, and they're like, why wouldn't you do something less expensive so that more of your fans could buy them? But I have to say, I actually have so much respect for Wayne for just making a product that he would want to buy, making the kind of product that he wants to see available. Because I think that if he had done something that was less expensive, if he had done like a private label thing where he just slapped his name on brushes, he would have sold a lot more product. Whereas what he did is he actually invested his entire life savings into creating a brush line that was what he wanted to see, his vision for brushes. And it's actually, I have so much respect for him, I have to say. The second thing I want to disclose is that he actually gifted this brush set to me. So I want to thank Wayne and Nils from Beautylish for hooking the whole thing up. You guys are amazing, and I had planned on buying the brush set anyway. And I also want to talk to you guys about the structure of this video. So at first I'm going to talk about these brushes and what I think, what I feel, some of the facts about the brushes, and then I'm going to actually have a little bit of a demo where I use each one of these brushes, and like as the voiceover of the demo, I'm going to have Wayne talking about the brushes. So it's kind of cool to share that interview that I got to have with you guys. This brush set is kind of like a mishmash of what we, the end consumer and the end user, wanted from this brush line, and the type of line that Wayne wanted to create. So, and he actually thanked me for my review and some of my feedback, and I almost feel like I somehow affected this in some way. I don't know. I think I'm just trying to be too much of a part of it because I love it so much. When my college studio original set, there was no powder brushes. The closest that we came was this little one, and it's a small powder brush. It's great for like under the eye or highlight or anything like that, but it's not great for blush. It's not good for powder. And I know Wayne's makeup philosophy, and some people kind of called out to me on my previous video like, well, that's not Wayne's philosophy and stuff. I'm like, okay, but I'm the person buying the brush and using it. So he actually did the holiday brush, which was much larger and is like totally one of my favorite brushes of all time, but it's not available anymore, so we're not going to talk about it. So what he's done here is he's come out with 6 brushes that are larger. They have different functions. They are just amazing. Now, the original brush set was made out of a blue squirrel, so that's a more expensive brush. Hair. And oh, the hair. So I want to mention that the hair used to create the Wayne Goss brush line are responsibly sourced, and that's one of the things that kind of leads to it costing more, and they're cruelty free. So what that means is the animal is treated with dignity and respect. It's brushed so that the hairs fall off naturally. It's something that's important to me to see a brush company doing that. It's something that's so great that Wayne wanted to incorporate with his brush line instead of doing a synthetic, which I'm gonna be honest, I think that animal hair brushes are better than synthetic. I think that they slide off the skin better. I think that they pick up powder better. Until somebody creates a synthetic that is literally identical to animal hair, I still think that animal hair is the best you can get. However, there are good synthetic lines out there, but today we're talking about Wayne Goss, so anyway. Here's one more thing I want to say about the cost, is that I know that altogether you're like, $265, that's insane. If you were to purchase these brushes individually, and in April you're going to be able to purchase the brushes individually, they're really not that bad. They're very comparable to a MAC brush or Tom Ford. In fact, they're cheaper than Tom Ford brushes. They're very comparable to Hakuhodo brushes. And so I think that, you know, realistically, I really think they're fair for the price. In fact, I think they're good for, you know, for what you're getting. Here's some of the things I love about these brushes. I love that these brushes are shorter in handle than your average makeup brush. It makes it so that they fit in a makeup bag, which is something I'm a really big fan of. And also nice if you have smaller hands or if you have glasses, so you have to sit really close to your makeup mirror. You don't have that like long handle hitting against the mirror. I love that. One of the other things I love that he changed is that the names are now lasered on, so they're not going to come off. I have this brush from the original set and the name is like kind of wearing off the like silver lettering and stuff. So it's nice that it's lasered on. It's not going to come off. I feel a little bit better about that. Also, it's a little bit more demure. It's not quite as obvious, which I think makes it look a little classier. So I'm not gonna like go into detail with each brush and tell you like all the ways to use it, because a makeup brush can be used however you want to use it. I do have the demo portion of this video where I'm like, you know, actually using them, and then I have the, you know, voiceover of Wayne talking about them. So what I do want to do is just kind of give some brief thoughts on each brush. So this is the number 10. And this is a duo fiber brush, and the most obvious thing that sets this apart from your average duo fiber brush is that it's all white, which is kind of, just makes it look so classy. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you that duo fiber brushes aren't my favorite brush. They're not ones I reach for a lot of the time. I do really like this for applying things like tinted moisturizer, BB cream. Even sometimes I'll do my primers on a client with a brush like this. So this is fantastic, and the hairs on this are a little bit longer. Well, Wayne, I'll tell you about it at the end. So the number 11 brush is exactly the brush I wanted him to come out with, and that is, you know, kind of like a paddle style powder brush. And it's funny because like when I made that review, originally I said like I wanted a larger powder brush, and I got the impression that a lot of people thought that I meant like this. Some people were like, why would you want such a huge powder brush that's clumsy? And I'm like, no, you don't. I just want one that's like a little smaller and like, you know, just a maze. Really a super dense, very soft, silky powder brush. I could pretty much just do this all day, but that would make for a very boring video. The next brush in the set is the number 12, and this is also a paddle style powder brush, but this one is much denser, and this one is, he calls this his contour brush. I don't love this for contour, I'm not gonna lie. It gets the job done, it's not bad or anything, but I actually like this one for blending out edges because it's so dense. Let's say that you use another brush to do your contour and you kind of overdid it. This would be the perfect brush to come in and just soften that edge and make sure that it's not too harsh. Now, this does do a great job of doing contour, and I did my contour with it today, so it's definitely one to consider, and this is one that I'm considering getting a backup of for my kit, because I think this would be really great for like when I kind of make it oopsie poopsie and need to fix it. Number 13 brush is the most amazing little brush. I'm like, girl. So this brush is a round, very dense brush, but it does have some give, and I do think it's somewhat comparable to like the MAC 109, but the MAC 109 is much denser. It's a little like stiffer, and it's smaller. So I think that this would be great for doing like powder foundation. I did use it today for my liquid foundation, and it gives me very full coverage, but at the end of the day, I still do prefer my Real Technique sponge for doing my foundation when I'm doing a liquid foundation. But this is perfect. I used this with my mineralized skin finish this weekend, and I was like, I don't have time for a full face, and this was fantastic. So great brush. The next brush in this set is the number 14, and this brush, can we have a conversation? We kind of are having a conversation. This brush is amazing for applying a very pigmented blush or bronzer or something that you want to get a lighter wash with. This is the perfect brush. Okay, if you're heavy-handed with your blush and you know it, and you know that you need to not show it, this would be a good brush to get, because it's gonna stop you from overdoing it. Do you guys remember in a video a couple months ago I showed how to make a super intense product less intense by doing face powder and then dipping into it? This brush kind of does that for you without the face powder. So I used it today to apply a very pigmented blush, and I'm so pleased with the results. I mean, I still kind of dolly cheeked it up, but that's just my MO. So the final brush in this set is the number 15, and it's a fan brush. And I'm gonna be the first one to tell you guys, I usually don't like fan brushes, like at all. As in, I own one and never ever use it. And I think that the main problem for me with fan brushes is a lot of them are synthetic, and a lot of them, they don't have a lot of give. They're just they're either like stiff or they're wimpy. This one has enough hairs there to where, you know, it's substantial, but it does have a nice give to it. This is so amazing at applying highlight, and it's great for doing it like, you know, a little bit right here. And then what I do is I blend it like this. I do a little place and blend, place and blend, and it's just perfect. It has the perfect amount of, I wouldn't call it drag because that makes it sound like, you know, a drag. It has the perfect amount of like soft slip on the skin. Now I'm gonna go ahead and share with you guys the demo of me applying my makeup today. Not the eye makeup or the lips or anything, but using the face brushes to do my face makeup. And the voiceover for this segment will be the interview that I did with Wayne, so I could share that with you guys.
And I took on all the feedback of the information that we gathered from the brush sales and wanted to create brushes that were still had me in mind, absolutely, but had you in mind more so, such as making the heads of the brushes bigger. We also changed the hair, which was the original set's will be a squirrel, whereas this set is goat. But obviously, if you're there now, you can feel, you know, that was the thought behind it. And what I wanted to do with like brush 10 was to create a much larger brush, so your standard stippling brush, but this time make it as soft as we could so that it wouldn't exfoliate anybody's skin if you've got dry skin or problematic skin, but it would still be able to blend, which is why the bristles are much longer than your standard stippling brush, because they come in two sizes. You've got the outside layer and then a smaller inside layer, and this one has much more outer, so to speak. So it blends and doesn't absorb as much liquid or cream as, you know, standard brushes do.
Yeah, and it's so, I mean, it just feels like I want to rub it all over myself, which is a good thing.
Ridiculously soft, aren't they? 13 can be used for everything.
This to me feels a lot like my beloved MAC 109, but it's so much softer.
She is qualified to speak to
I'm qualified to speak to the softness. And this is, oh my god, I'm so excited about this brush.
It's nice because it's such a dense brush, because the 109 is an incredible brush. And there's no doubt there's similarities. I just wanted to refine it and get the quality that I wanted from a brush, and create, you know, but with that same round shape.
You know what else I love is that your brush hairs are not dyed. And that's one thing that I hate. I hate brush hairs that are dyed because the dye just keeps coming out every time you wash it. And with yours, it's all natural.
Yeah, we took notes, definitely. You can dip it into a liquid and apply your foundation with it. And then if you dip it directly into a loose powder, it will dry. And you can then buff your loose powder on, then your blusher, then your bronzer. So you can do most of the face with number 13. And it's great for contouring and blending out hard edges as well. People were asking for, with regards to blusher, bronzer, they wanted a more substantial feeling brush. So this was the thought process behind this. And again, it's quite dense. So you could apply blusher to it. You could turn it on its side and you could theoretically apply some highlighter with this brush as well, but powdering is also good for it because it won't move again too much at the face.
Right.
Brush 12 was designed really for contouring, to be able to get into the jaw and underneath the cheekbones. It's great for bronzer as well, just to blend into the sort of temples, but I just use it for contouring. And the way I like to use it is if you kind of split that brush in half, you apply product to half of the bristles, place it in the outside corner of your, sort of underneath your cheekbone, and then move it along, and the bristles that contain no colour will blend the colour for you.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, no, I have a lot of blush brushes like that, and I was like, Wayne's got to do a brush like this because I need to convert.
Well, yeah, it's kind of, I just like the idea, just split it in half and we can use one for colour and the rest of the bristles will just blend it through. If you look at like brush 14, it's such a longer bristle. And see, for me, this is the perfect brush to powder with because you can go so delicately under the eyes, and I hate a lot of powder. So just down the centre of the face. And this is the brush that I would use for blusher because you can pick up a really pigmented blusher and it will just sort of spread it really, really sheerly across the skin. So it's one of my favourite of the face section. 13 and 14 are the ones that I sort of love the most. And 15 is that fan brush. And most of the fan brushes are synthetic. Whereas obviously this isn't. This is a natural bristle, and you can contour with this very finely. But it's great for just going over the cheekbones, the collarbones, to add highlight to those areas subtly. Because I'm not a fan of really strong, ridiculously highlighted cheeks, unless that's a look people are going for. So this supplies it nicely.
Yeah. Wonderful. So it's really lovely, and it really complements the original set. I don't feel like there's things that you can of course use for the same purpose, but I don't feel like this is like, oh well, that brush is just exactly like this other one. It's really well thought out.
Yeah. I wanted them to look different, and I wanted them to be more about you as opposed to what I wanted. Because in my ideal world, there would only be crease brushes. There would be nothing else.
Right.
But this isn't my world. So I wanted to make sure that everybody was taken care of. And that the sizes were addressed as well for people that wanted bigger brushes. The whole process was about making sure that the brushes, the original collection and this collection, that they are as soft as we can get them so they don't move the skin as much.
That's a really wonderful point, the not moving the skin as much. And I have noticed that with your brushes, that even when I press a little harder with them, I don't feel like I'm irritating my skin. I don't feel like I'm moving my eyelid as much.
Yeah, and obviously predominantly the people that I was dealing with and knew were much older than sort of 20 years old, so they have more skin movement. So to create brushes that, when I go into the socket of the eye, that would move it the least amount was, something that was important to me.
Wonderful. Yeah, and it shows. You put a lot of care and thought into this line. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Everyone's so excited about it.
Thank you very much.
Can you just say a quick hello to my subscribers?
I can indeed. Hello, and thank you for watching this Skype thingy.
Thank you, Wayne. Now that you've seen the demo, I hope you guys can see, how well these brushes function. They are just the Rolls Royce of makeup brushes. They're just fantastic, and here's what I want to say about that. So in my last previous video reviewing these, I talked about how they were like the designer handbag of makeup brushes. So I personally drive a Kia because I didn't want to spend more money on a fancy car, right? So that doesn't mean my Kia doesn't function. I love my car and I love that it was inexpensive, but I also bought it with the knowledge that it wasn't gonna last forever. Knowing that it wasn't gonna be a forever car, that it's going to depreciate quickly, and that, I'm not gonna be able to probably give the car to like my firstborn child on their 16th birthday. You know what I mean? Like it's not a forever car, and I know that. A good analogy with makeup brushes, and I think it's better than the designer handbag one. So I have lots of inexpensive brushes that I love, and I continue to buy them and I like them, and there's some that are my absolute favorites and I just couldn't be without, but I also buy them with the knowledge that they're not going to last forever. They're going to depreciate quickly. Some of them are going to fall apart on me, but I go, okay, well, I didn't spend a lot of money on it, and sometimes I just want to kind of check out the function of a type of a brush, so I'll go for something that's less expensive. Buying these Wayne GOSS brushes is like buying that forever car or buying that forever brush. It's going to be amazing. It's made of the finest quality materials, the finest craftsmanship, so it's going to be around for a long time. It's an investment that you've made into the brush. That isn't to say I'm not happy with my inexpensive brushes, I just know that they're mass produced, they're not made to the same quality standards. So that would be all I want to say on the matter. I hope that you guys are coming away with this fully understanding and that I actually remembered to talk about everything that I meant to talk about. I feel like I'm very scatterbrained. Later this week I'm going to have a review and tutorial of a very anticipated palette. You know which one. You know. We're gonna get it on like Donkey Kong. That'll do it for this video. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I will see you guys in my next video. Until next time, remember to just be yourself. See you, bye!